Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's review we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Kingdom Deluxe class Blackarachnia. Blackarachnia here is one of the first Predacons to be introduced into the Transformers Kingdom line, and what a Predacon to kickstart this line. Blackarachnia is arguably one of the best characters to come out of the Transformers Beast Wars series, and here she is in her latest Transformers Kingdom incarnation, and what a job Hasbro have done with this figure. Starting off here firstly by taking a look at the details. Much like we have seen with the likes of Cheetor and Rat Trap, Hasbro appear to be taking heavy inspiration from the Beast Wars series, however are slightly modifying the designs in order to better match what I imagine we will see in the upcoming Kingdom Netflix show. You can see that there for her head sculpt, it really to me looks as if though she's jumped straight out of the Beast Wars series. We've even got details such as the tiny little hourglass there on the top section of her helmet, and I've got to say that the variety in paint applications really does complement the sculpt. You can see that we've got this almost golden yellow there at the top with a much lighter shade of mustard yellow there for the mouth, and I think that the definition for the eyes, nose and mouth have come out really nicely. We've also got some fantastic sculpt work going along the side of her helmet as well as there on the top of the crest, and as we take a look here at the back of Blackarachnia's head, we've also got some really nice details there of what I imagine are meant to be spider eyes. As we take a look here at her torso, we do indeed have the spider legs which are tattooed on her breastplate, and you can also see there that we do have the Predacon symbol. Taking a look here at her arms, once again very accurate to what we see in the Beast Wars show. However, when we take a look here at the spider legs, the colour variation of these really does differ from what we see in the Beast Wars animation, as from what we've seen from the Kingdom line, they really do appear to be giving these characters very Beast Wars inspired robot modes, however very authentic animalistic alt modes. Here with Blackarachnia, instead of having the golden spider legs, she this time does have black spider legs, which I think complements the figure rather nicely, and you can see the texture and detail on those certainly does look very accurate to that of a real life spider. As we move down to the arms, you can once again see some impeccable paintwork here for where her claws are. As we take a look here at the lower torso, you can see some definition there to the sculpt, as well as another set of spider eyes, so I'm really unsure as to what the detailing is on the back of her head, but these two have also been painted in a really nice gold. And then as we take a look here at her thighs, we've got some nice variation there of black and gold, and taking a look at her shins, the design for Blackarachnia is incredibly streamlined and elegant. I think they've managed to capture the essence of Blackarachnia really well with this figure. You can see that she literally has barely no back kibble whatsoever. It really to me does seem as if though Hasbro have mastered their engineerings with these upcoming Kingdom figures, and even with the Studio Series 86 line, they certainly are maximising the look of the robot modes as well as the alt forms. In terms of Blackarachnia's articulation, her head here does have a ball joint, so this can of course look left to right as well as up and down. We can also utilise the neck joint due to transformation in order to get her looking down as well as in order to get her looking up. We do get hinge joints here at the arms, so these can rotate the full 360 at a slight angle here due to the shoulder design, and they can of course hinge all the way upwards, which in my opinion is to a great degree. The actual spider legs here are on their own separate hinge, so you can really maneuver those around in whatever way you so desire, and of course all of the spider legs here are on their own individual ball joints, so you can swing those around here to the front, move them here off to the side, or of course fold them up neatly on the back. We also do get a second rotation here. Unfortunately we don't get any form of wrist rotation. It would have been nice if they could have moved this joint and put it here, as the elbow joint is unfortunately connected to this section, so you are unable to rotate the wrist the full 360. No waist articulation, which is unfortunate, however due to the nature of the design and due to how thin she is, I think that pretty much would have been impossible. The leg articulation is slightly lacking kicking outwards. You can see that she can barely kick outwards unless you have her kicking all the way off to the side, which in my opinion really doesn't look all that great whatsoever. It would have been great if they could have found a way to engineer a drop down hinge joint, as in my opinion that would have maybe allowed us to get 90-degree range of motion. She does have a full 360 rotation here at the thigh, and due to the nature of the transformation we do get a well past 90-degree range of motion here, only on a single hinge joint. Taking a look here at the feet, these here can pivot forwards and backwards as well as of course rock side to side. So overall in terms of articulation, while she's not the best articulated War for Cybertron figure I have handled, she's certainly not the worst, and I think that her details more than make up for it. Taking a look at the one and only accessory that Kingdom Blackarachnia comes with, of course, is her iconic harpoon weapon, and once again a very nice homage to her original blaster from the Beast Wars series. I think that they've captured all of the details down to a T, and I love the metallic gold that we've got for the main section of the gun as well as the golden plastic that we actually do get here for the harpoon, and you can see some fantastic sculpt work going on here, so certainly really does complement the figure rather nicely. And due to the way that they have sculpted her claws, despite them not being articulated, we do have a circular peg here which can easily accommodate the blaster, and when installed, Blackarachnia here certainly does look like a formidable force to be reckoned with. Here for some War for Cybertron size comparisons, we have our Kingdom Blackarachnia compared next to the Deluxe class Cheetor, as well as the Earthrise / Kingdom RC, and I think that she scales really nicely amongst some of these figures. Just comparing her here next to RC, you can see that she is more or less exactly the same in terms of height. These figures here certainly do feel very refined, and unlike RC, you do not have to detach her backpack in order to get her more accurate appearance. Very quickly comparing her here next to Cheetor, I think that the scale here from what we got in the original Beast Wars series works quite nicely. Of course, we are unable to tell as to how these two figures will scale in the upcoming Kingdom Netflix show. However, for now, in terms of a display, I think that these two here work really nicely with one another. Turning here, however, to a size comparison of which I think many of you will appreciate, here we have Kingdom Blackarachnia compared next to the Masterpiece figure. Now, I have been very quick in the past to state that some of the more recent War for Cybertron figures have been contenders for mini masterpieces, and I certainly think that Blackarachnia here is one of those contenders. Now, of course, she doesn't have nowhere near as much detail as the Masterpiece figure, so in this instance, I certainly do believe that this figure has a place in my collection. Of course, this one is entirely inspired by her Beast Wars appearance, so you can see that she does have the golden legs, whereas here with the Kingdom version we do get the more authentic black legs for a spider. The Masterpiece version also does have her iconic purple feet, whereas with the Kingdom, of course, we do get the black feet. However, just comparing the details, I think that once again Hasbro have done such a nice job. This to me really does feel like a simplified Masterpiece. As we take a look here at the back, you can see that she's very refined in terms of her sculpt, and then just moving around here to the back once again, you can see that they're pretty much identical in terms of the way that the proportions of the robot modes look. It is merely just the articulation and the higher level of detailing that the Masterpiece figure has that makes this figure here the superior. However, when comparing the price point, I think that this figure here is certainly more worth the value than that of the MP release. Turning here now to the transformation for Blackarachnia, surprisingly it's actually quite simplistic, and much like we've seen from some of the other War for Cybertron figures, is very effective. So to begin with, you're going to want to take her head here and rotate it so that the front is now of course facing the back. We can then turn our attention here and take this back plate here and hinge this section here all the way out like so. What I then recommend doing is grabbing this lower torso section and grabbing this piece and just hinging this all the way up. The spider head does indeed tab into this section here, so you're just going to want to unlock it. With that now done, we can proceed to fold the head all the way into this cavity. I then recommend lifting up her breastplate. Now, something worth noting is that very similarly to Cheetor, this here did have a peg of doom, and it has unfortunately snapped on my part. Initially, I didn't even think that this was designed to actually hinge upwards. However, the instructions did state it hinging, and as I applied some force, the peg did snap clean off, which is so unfortunate and is something that isn't integral to robot mode nor the spider mode. However, is something that I wish they could have found a way to perfect. But just hinge this breastplate here up like so. What you're then going to want to do is take this section and pull it away from the body. It is on a pin joint, so just shoot that down, which will then allow you to fold the arms in, and then of course rotate this here all the way around and snap that nice and securely into place. You're then going to want to rotate the arms in a way that looks something along the lines of this, and we can just move the spider legs in order to allow for some additional clearance. As we take this section, you're going to want to ensure that this here comes all the way over the top, and it will actually tuck into this tiny little cavity that we do get here from her breastplate, so something that looks along the lines of this. We can then take the feet here, and you're going to want to fold those up, take this section, hinge the thigh plate out ever so slightly. So for robot mode, it is compressed like this. For spider mode, you're going to want to hinge it outwards, and the legs here will snap nice and securely into place. We can then take the knee pad, snap that down like so, and then it is just a matter of repeating the exact same process here on the opposite side. Hinge that section out, snap that nice and securely into place, and fold the knee pad down. You're then going to want to take her crutch plate and articulate this here all the way upwards like so, and then utilize the hinge joints here on the legs. Bring those around, of course, repeat the same process here on this side, and then with this it is just a matter of aligning all of this up so that the outer section of the thigh connects here to the abdominal section here of the spider mode, and of course vice versa here on the opposite side. Just ensure that everything here is tabbed up appropriately. We can then take the two arms, and you can see that there is tabs and slots on either sides of these. You're going to want to ensure that they are tabbed in nice and securely, and I love the engineering on this. You can see that the way they've sculpted her hands is a perfect fit for the heel spurs of her feet in robot mode. So for this, you're just going to want to peg all of this into place, slide this section here over the top, and just snap this there. Ensure that if these have come untabbed, that they are pushed back together, and then take the spider legs here, hinge those up, and of course move all of the ball joints out of the way in order to create for a more authentic look. Repeat the same process here on the opposite side, and there we have Kingdom Blackarachnia fully transformed up into a very awesome looking Black Widow spider mode, very similarly to what we got in robot mode. I think that this is perhaps going to perfectly capture her appearance from the upcoming Kingdom Netflix series, and whilst it is a slight departure and is a little bit more stylized from what we got from the Beast Wars series, is certainly a nice homage. Taking a look here at the front section of the head, you can see that we've got some fantastic sculpt work here of mandibles, as well as all of the eyes, which have been individually sculpted as well as painted. Unfortunately, we do get the shoulder sections of her arms here situated at the front, which definitely to me look as if though these are indeed her breastplate. However, I can assure you that these are the shoulders. As we take a look here once again at the texturing to the legs, I think that these have come out really nicely in this glossy black plastic, and to me definitely does create for a very creepy and authentic feel. And as we take a look here at the main abdomen section, you can see that we've got some iconic traits of a Black Widow, such as these red sections here at the top, as well as once again some fantastic sculpt work, which in my opinion really does create for a very grotesque look here for Kingdom Blackarachnia. Of course, as we take a look here at the back, we have just got her claws clearly hanging out. However, due to how streamlined this figure was in the robot mode, I think that it is more than a suitable compromise, and I don't think that it looks too bad whatsoever. You can also see that we do have the crutch plate here facing the front, but seeing as it is the back, I am able to give this an easy miss. In terms of articulation, she unfortunately really doesn't have much other than the ball joints here at the legs, so these here can come inward, so you can have her spicing up a plan or perhaps webbing up Cheetor. All of the legs here can hinge up and down, of course, as well as rock side to side, so that's also quite nice. In terms of weapon storage, we can take her harpoon weapon, and you can see that the way that these sections here actually come together, it does create two tabs here and here that the slot on her blaster will actually peg into. So you're just going to want to align this up here appropriately, snap the two tabs into the pegs, and if anything, it actually does help to keep this rear section tabbed in a lot more securely, and I don't think that that looks too bad whatsoever. The blaster should fit seamlessly along the body so that it is in a straight line and not at a slight angle, so that is how it should look when stored, and I think for the most part, once again, it looks rather nice. And here for a Kingdom Beast Mode size comparison, we have Blackarachnia compared next to her rival Cheetor, and you can see here that whilst they were the exact same size in terms of their robot modes, Blackarachnia certainly does become quite a tiny looking spider, and certainly very compact, which once again is a compliment to the overall engineering that Hasbro and Takara Tomy have designed for this particular release. And so some final thoughts here for the Transformers Kingdom Blackarachnia. Once again, a really nice job here by Hasbro and Takara Tomy. Blackarachnia for me was one of the more popular and was certainly one of my personal favourites out of the Beast Wars series. For me, it was always Megatron, Blackarachnia, Optimus Primal and Dinobot. So when this figure here was announced to be part of Wave 1, I knew that she was going to be potentially one of the highlights out of the wave, and actually getting her in hand, I can confirm that she may be the best out of this first wave of Kingdom figures. She has a fantastic looking robot mode in my opinion. Once again, the Beast mode is slightly stylized to match from what we are going to be seeing in the Kingdom Netflix show, but I think that they more than make up with it with the exceptional looking robot mode. You saw that when comparing her to the Masterpiece, they are pretty much exactly the same in terms of their proportions. The detailing of course does slightly lack due to this figure being significantly cheaper than the MP figure, and of course being a lot smaller than the MP release, but the overall proportions I think have come out down to a T. She's very streamlined and certainly very elegant, and really does match what we see from the Beast Wars series. I love how they've managed to compact her backpack, and the fact that you can actually swing the spider legs around in order to create the machine gun look that she got in the Beast Wars show looks awesome, and I'm really hoping that she does deploy those in the Kingdom show. Her blaster is a very nice accessory and is almost spot on to what we see in the show, and her head sculpt looks marvellous in my opinion. Both robot mode as well as her spider mode are fantastic, and she is just overall a really nice looking deluxe class figure. So if you are into these Beast Wars figures, then Blackarachnia here is potentially one of the figures that I would recommend the most out of this entire wave, even over Megatron. So I really do hope that you enjoyed my review. If you did, please do let me know down in the comment section below. Also be sure to let me know on whether or not you are going to be picking up any of these Kingdom figures, and if you are, which ones are you most looking forward to. I thank you all for watching, and until my next review, I'll see you then.